moving on to the next story. I think I have 3 more stories that happened to me in these apartments, and from there I can move on to my last story that happened to me at the house that my people got. Okay, so this next story was this one night. Me, my sister, my mom, we had stayed up all night. I think it was a Friday night, and so we decided to watch TV for a very long time. And so, as I explained to you, this apartment, this is the hallway, this is the living room, right? So in the living room, this is the hallway, and there's a window here, and the TV is like right here before you pass through the hallway. Like if you pass through the hallway, the TV is right here, the window is right here, there's a window by the TV, and then over here is the door to like walk out, walk in, and then over here is, the wall, and like the dining room over here, and like the kitchen all the way over there, and this wall, over here we have the couch that is facing, the TV. And the hallway, like right in front of, like, this is the couch and this is the hall, and they're facing each other, and then the TV's like right here, like next to the window in this wall. And so my sister, she's sitting in the couch right in front of the hall, and I remember at this time she was in her tablet and she had her headphones on. She had her headphones on and she was in her little tablet, doing her little stuff, and she had stopped paying attention to the movie. But me and my mom, we were so intrigued into the movie, and we were watching it. Now, out of nowhere, it was already dark, like it was already night, we had stayed up night, and in the hallway, the lights like flickered. The hallway, like it flickered, and I turned, I saw it, and I ignored it. I'm like, maybe it's a little fly. Now the light bulb that we had in the hall, it's not like, it was such a vintage type of like light bulb. Like it's such a vintage light that we have in the wall. It's like it has like it's open from the top. Like there's nothing on the top. Like you can literally, like you can go like this and you can grab the light bulb, switch it, and put a new light bulb in, and that's it. Like that's it. That's the little light we have. And so there was nothing on top. And so sometimes like little insects would get trapped in there, like they would be swirling around in the light bulb. So I didn't think much of it, and I said maybe it's just a huge butterfly or like a huge like insect in there. So I didn't think of anything of it. And then we're watching TV, and I don't tell her like anything. I'm like, okay, whatever. And we keep watching TV, and then the light flickers again. But it completely flickers, like in a way that the light completely leaves and goes and comes back. It flickered, that it left completely, and it comes back. And I noticed, when from where I was sitting, I could tell if there was an insect inside the little light thing. I could tell because it creates shadows into the other wall. And it's night, so it was really easy to see like shadows. And so whenever there's something inside the little lamp thing, like an insect or something, I can always tell that by the shadows that it creates in the wall. But this time, I'm like, okay, the light literally flickered and literally left and came back on. And my eyes are not playing games on me. They're not. And I know. And I'm sitting there knowing that my eyes are not playing tricks on me. I'm like, I know that my eyes are playing tricks on me. And it's not like, when you know the difference between your light bulb is like shutting down and you need to replace the light bulb, and something's not right. I know that the light bulb is mine. I could tell the difference. The difference between, oh, my light is like flickering because I need to replace the light bulb. Like you feel it, like like you naturally know, like, oh, I'm gonna replace that soon. I was sitting there knowing that something was wrong. Like the light did not flicker on a normal way. Like it was not a normal way. I know that we don't have to change the light bulb. So I sat there like thinking about it. And as soon as I start thinking about this, my mom was sitting like right here, right? And I was sitting like right here. So my sister was facing the TV and the hallway, right in front, right? They're facing each other. But we had little couches on this side, on this wall. And I was sitting here, and my mom was sitting like next to the hallway, next to the TV, right next to the TV. And I see a shadow pass by the window. I literally saw it. It looked like it's literally the living proof image of when Peter Pan goes into Wendy's, Peter Pan goes into Wendy's room. And that Peter's like shadow is like walking in the the Peter Pan shadow is walking in the wall. That was literally the black shadow, but not in the Peter Pan form, fully like human, but you could tell it was human shadow because of the form it was shaped in, right? So it passes through the window, and it passes, and it goes straight through the hall. And I'm sitting there like, Mom, did you? And she goes, I saw it. And I'm like, you saw it? And she goes, yeah, I saw it. It was a black shadow, right? And I'm like, yes. And she goes, yeah, I saw it too. And when it goes through the hall, the light flickers again. And I'm like, this was the only paranormal, I think this is the only paranormal thing that to this day I can relate with my mom. And I'm like, do you remember when we saw that shadow? She's like, yes, I do. I remember it. I'm like, no, that's chilling. Like, the fact that there was a black shadow from the window and it crossed all the hallway and it hit the lamp. Oh, and it hit the lamp, by the way. It hit the lamp. It was such a strong shadow, such strong energy that it hit the lamp. Like, literally when it went through the hallway, the lamp flickered. And again, when there's like little insects around the light bulb, like, the sound, like when you're outside and you have like a light bulb and the little insects are around the light bulb and they're like touching it and they're like ding, 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 ding. And they do this little weird ding 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 noise on the light because they're like touching it and they're attracted to the light. This shadow passed by it and it made the whole light shake. Like the light was like the light made such a weird noise. Like there was a bunch of little insects in there trying to grab the light, and then it like flickered and the shadow left. We didn't see where it went. I don't know. It didn't come back, but it was so weird. It was weird. It was weird. When I tell you those apartments were haunted, they probably were, So many people have lived in those apartments before us. We don't really know what really went down in that apartment before we moved in, We don't know what type of people lived there before us. We don't know, we don't know. And again, I feel like in apartments, energies transfer from different locations. I just don't know why my apartment was always targeted. And sadly, it was. And I think this is the last story of what happened in those apartments. The last, weird paranormal activity story that I have in the apartment. Now, I think moving forward for the next story. So for this story, my people finally got a house. We got away from the apartments. And we finally moved into a home. And when I kid you not, I actually did go through a lot of weird things here. But it was more like... I went through things like in a dream way. Where if I had a dream usually it was a weird thing. I would wake up in the middle of my dream and it would be like real. Like all the things would still be like the things that were happening, I would still be able to see them while I was waking up in the middle of my room. That's how weird things became for me. That they were becoming so realistical for me. They were literally in my room, like if something was happening in my room or something like. And I'm not saying paranormal. It was more like, for example, I had this one dream where I was gonna get kidnapped, and this dream actually became true. It connects with one of my stories that I placed on TikTok. Like on my TikTok page, if you scroll all the way down, I have a story of when I actually was gonna get kidnapped at my old job because of this long walk that I had to literally take from the parking area all the way to the place where I used to work at. Like it was a long walk and a long distance. So I almost got kidnapped, and my story for that is in TikTok. I feel like I should bring it to YouTube here and like bring it here in a separate video. So that will be another story for another time. But it's so weird because this dream is a dream I had before the kidnap situation almost happened to me. So this dream, for example, I'm going to use it because it's the most vivid dream. I remember I almost got kidnapped, that a person broke through the window and in my room, and they were grabbing me by my neck and they were like trying to take me. And it was this guy. I remember there was this other guy with him. There was this Asian girl that I've never seen before. This guy I've never seen before that was trying to capture me. And this Asian girl crawling in the middle of the room. I don't know why. But I remember like, for example, like when I was like waking up from the dream, I could still see them in the room. Like when I was dozing off, waking up my eyes, I could still see them in the room, and then I fully woke up. Like my eyes were completely open, looking at like the room. Like me getting up from bed, everything was gone. Like, oh, it's the room. Like it was just a dream. You know, it's so weird. The things that have happened to me, and so that was just an example of how I've seen things, paranormal things with my dreams. Not real paranormal things, because again, these are dreams. But then again, the house story, I had just left my sister at school. And I was working at the time, and I was going to go to work after I left her at school. But what I was going to do was come back and, sleep a little bit longer and like then get ready for work. Because I didn't have work. I think in this point in time, I think I was doing afternoon shift, or I think I would go in like at 12 or something. I don't remember fully, but I know, or I'm not sure if I had to work that day at all. Maybe it was a day off, I think. It's probably a day off. But the thing is that I was, getting into my bed, all cozying, and I was, I changed into my PJs. I left my sister at school. I came back. Everybody was at work, and I was, coming back, and I was, I went to my upstairs room. This is a 2-story house. And so I go to my upstairs room. I change. I get into my PJs, and I'm about to go to sleep. I love sleep. I was about to go to sleep, and I get in bed and I'm laying down and I'm scrolling through my phone and I'm about to go to sleep. And I hear the most terrifying voice in my whole entire life. I kid you not. In the apartments, whatever that voice was a good mimic. Whatever voice in the apartment lived or whatever that was, it mimicked. Okay, so the mimics in the apartments, I feel like they were like good people that knew how to mimic, or whatever they were, they knew how to mimic perfectly. Like the voice would actually sound like my mom's voice. At the house where we were in, genuinely when I heard my name being called, when I tell you that my name got called. When I tell you that my name got called, it got called in the most terrible voice I've never heard in my life. Like I never had I ever heard this ever in my life. It was a terrible scream, like a very, like, you could tell that somebody was mad. It was like my mom was mad, but like really ferocious, and it wasn't her voice. Obviously, it wasn't her voice. But this time, you could tell that it wasn't her voice. It was like, this time you could actually explain it the way I'm gonna explain it right now. It was like someone was trying to mimic my mom, and it wasn't my mom. But they tried so hard, it came out so wrong. Because it sounded like there were like 4 or 5 different voices attached to this voice. It was like an echo of Bonnie, like that. I really genuinely want to give the example out, and it was louder and more like echo-ish and more like disgustingly, and like it just sounded so terrible. It sounded terrifying. When I tell you terrifying, it didn't even sound like my actual mom's voice. It sounded like there was 1,000 voices in that one voice. I could hear the different echoes. I think this is the only time that I ever heard that in that house. After that incident, I didn't hear anything else. Now, I heard that, and when I tell you, I felt the shivers in my spine and my body. I was like, oh no, not again. I'm like, no, not again. I'm like, why does this keep happening? What is the point of this thing happening? I feel like these negative energies really try to get the best of you as a person, and they feed on it, you know? I don't feel like it's a bad intention. I genuinely don't feel like it's a bad intention. I feel like these things are just things that happen. These are negative energies, or these are just energies. They might not even be negative. Of course, they're weird because this is not something that should be happening. So we call it negative entities, negative energies, or whatever it could be, because we don't know what it is, right? We call it mimics. That's what I've seen people say, that's what it is whenever they call your name or whatever. So it did sound like my mom, but it didn't fully transform. There we go. That's all I can say. That's the best way I can explain it. It really did try to mimic my mom's voice, but it didn't fully transform into my mom's voice, making it sound really terrifying. It wasn't even sweet, you know? It was terrifying. And the thing is that this mimic in this house didn't call me by my nickname. This called me from my actual name in the most roaring way possible. When I tell you I almost fainted in my bed, where I was literally about to go to sleep, I almost fainted. I was so scared. I really did. But you know what? I got the courage like so fast in that momentum, because you know the first thing your body's gonna do is, like, if you get scared. Well, me personally, what my body does, what I do, personally me, what I do is, what my body does is, if I get scared, I genuinely think of the best way possible for me to retract that scare motion and push it forward so that I don't feel it, because I really am scared, you know? I really do get scared. Anything, like, I get really scared really easily, you know? And I was frightened. But what my body does, what I do, is that I have this emotion, or this, like, type of way of me of seeing things in life, where I just, you know, as soon as I got scared, I was like, no. Whatever that is, I don't care. Whatever, like, just whatever that negative energy is, I'm not gonna pay attention to it. And you know, as soon as my brain starts thinking that way, like, I don't start feeling like scared, or like, you know, I start thinking about it, and I'm like continuing life the way it is, and I keep going forward. And so, you know, I was so tired. I was like, whatever that is, bro, it can stay down there. It can stay down there, because the call came from downstairs. It was so terrifying. I heard it across the It came like from the living room area downstairs, and I heard it, all across the stairs. So I was like, whatever that is, it can stay wherever it is. If it really wants to fight me, or whatever it is, whatever it is, or whatever its intention was, if it really wants to do something, it's gonna have to come to me, because I'm not about to go downstairs. I'm tired. I'm gonna go get my sleep. I don't care. It's my day off. So, and on top of this, I was having a shitty day that day, I think, or something, and I was like, that's why I wanted to go to sleep, because the best way to like get rid of a bad day is like if you sleep it off. Like if I sleep it off, like, yay, because I don't get to face reality and like the pain of my bad day. So I had a bad day, and I was like, I'm gonna go to sleep. And on top of that, you appear and try to call me downstairs, whatever it is, or whatever this is. I was mad. I went to sleep. I didn't care. I genuinely stayed laying down. I turned on the TV, and I went to sleep. I don't remember what happened after that. I just know I literally woke up. Yep, so it was my day off. I literally went to sleep. I slept the whole day, and I didn't wake up. I didn't wake up until like it was time for me to like go get my sister to school. So around 3 or so, 2 p.m. maybe, something like that. So yeah, no, I really said the F word to it, and I didn't care. I did not care. I was gonna get my sleep. I think that's the last time something like that ever happened to me. Recently, nothing like that has ever happened to me again. That was literally the last time when we put this into the categories of mimics. This is the last time a mimic has done something like that. I'm thankful to the Lord that it has stopped, because I promise you, I get so scared. Like, I have all of these things that have happened to me. Like, my little heart has gone through so much. Like, stop. I don't want this to ever happen to me again. So I'm thankful that for now everything's supposed to be chill. Like, I'm saying that these things didn't happen chronologically, like recently and like the next day. Crisis? No, this happened like one time in like 5 months, and like again another 5 months, or like 2 years after, and like that, not in a sequence. It's more like very far in their timeline. They were like really far in their time, from different times apart from each other. So I think this was the last it's the last story I have about a mimic, what you guys call it now. And so I think this is the last story I have. This is literally all the paranormal things I got for now. This is the end. This is the end of it. This is the end of the video. So this is the end of the video. I hope you guys liked my video. I hope you guys liked my stories. If you guys can relate, please comment down in the sections below. If you relate to anything that I've spoken about today, do not leave me hanging out there. Like, please guys, y'all gotta relate to everything that I've gone through, or something that I've gone through. Anything that relates to this, it'd be cool to know anybody's story, or like know what you guys have gone through. These are my personal things. I have so many other stories, but I feel like the video has gone on for so long that I'm gonna do a paranormal activity part 2. These are some of the stories, and I feel like I'm gonna leave it open, and I'm gonna do a part 2. So I hope you guys can subscribe and stick around for my next video when it happens and when I pop it up. Thank you so much if you've watched this far. I really do appreciate you guys for watching my videos. You guys are so nice for just being here and watching my videos. The support is really important for me. You guys are literally genuinely helping my little inner child. So that's really all we have left in the end. I really believe, we're not getting any younger. The younger we are is the youngest we are today, right now, in this moment. This is the youngest we are. We cannot get any younger, but I promise that our souls will always stay young. no matter how old our body gets. I really believe that our souls will always be young forever. No matter how much life makes you and tricks you into thinking that you have to be an adult and you have to do these adult things. Like, don't rush life into doing adult things. They get really like boring really quickly. And not only that, it's sometimes the things you think that are like cool are really not in the end. And it's just that like life, there's no rush. Really, really take care of your soul, guys. Take care of your soul. Take care of your soul. You know, your soul is the most important thing here. Take care of your soul. Take care of your inner child. Protect the you that you wanted to protect when you were a kid, you know? And always reflect that the way you wanted to protect yourself when you were a kid, protect others, you know? I leave you guys with that to think about. And, you know, if you guys relate to anything that I said and anything that I've said today, like, okie dokie, like, amazingly great and fantastic, because I would really like you guys if you guys subscribed and, like, followed. But thank you so much, guys, for watching my videos if you guys stayed this long. And I guess I'll see you guys in my next video.